Hi everybody, welcome to Lunch and Learn Wednesday, all things certifications. So I think we have a few more coming. We're going to give it just a couple of minutes here. And while we're waiting, I kind of wanted to poll you guys and see, number one, if you can hear me. So if you can hear me, can everybody just kind of use the hand raise function and let me know audio is good? Yay, thank you Rich, you were the first one. Okay. And number two, since you're here, I would like to know how many of you are certified. So I'm going to put a poll up really quick. And just kind of give me some answers. Tell me who is SOLIDWORKS certified at any level. You can be an associate, a pro, however you're certified. Very good. Thanks for voting. Okay. I'm actually going to share these with you. And what this means is that you guys are in the right place. We're going to take a look at certification and kind of how you start the process and what goes on from there. And I closed that out. I showed my screen again. Okay, we're good. I'm still kind of learning how to use this interface too. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about kind of the who, what, when, where, all, why you should get certified. We're going to talk about the big questions in this series. And we're going to start today with kind of who I am and why I chose this content. I am Rachel Diane. I am an application engineer. I'm in the Albany office. And I love to play video games, you guys. Titanfall comes out on Tuesday. And I cannot wait. My gamer tag is I am cool girl. I'm on Xbox Live. If you guys are gamers, hit me up, send me a message, tell me where you got my gamer tag, and we will play Titanfall next week. It's going to be awesome. Okay. And I'm all over social media too, so Skype, Goodreads, LinkedIn, whatever. Find me. I'm Rachel Diane York everywhere, and just kind of see what goes on here once in a while. And the other reason I chose this content, so I chose to talk about certifications because when I was in industry, they scared me. I didn't want anything to do with them. I thought they were these big, bad, scary monsters that only my tech support staff could take down, or that only just, the elite SOLIDWORKS users could take down, the people that I thought were the best of the best kind of deal. So I had these things. My imagination had created these crazy, scary exams, and now that I'm tech support, this is a job requirement for me. So now I have to get certified, right? And I realized while I was, taking the journey to my expert exam that they really aren't that bad. So that's what I want to share with you today. I want to share with you that the exams are completely achievable. I want to tell you what exams are out there, that kind of stuff. And I want to reduce the big, scary imagination monster that's always worse than reality down to kind of a pink, fluffy version that is not scary at all. So to do that, we're going to do a two-part series. And today, we're going to talk about who, what, when, where, why. We're going to start with why I think you should get certified, how it would have benefited me when I was still in industry, what exams are available to you to take, so why you should get certified, what exams you should take, what exams you can take. We're going to look at where you should start, so maybe what the first exam you should take should be. We're going to look at what accounts you need to take these exams, where you need to sign in, set up, get to your proctor, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about how do you purchase an exam, how much do they cost, where can I find them, what's the retake, we're going to look at that stuff. And we're also going to I'm going to cover some frequently asked questions throughout the presentation. And then as questions come up, you actually have the ability to enter questions into your webinar taskbar. So as they come up, make sure you put those in there for me, and at the end I'll answer as many of them as I can. And just make sure you write them down so you don't forget and I don't forget, and we can take a look. On March 19th, so Wednesday, March 19th, in 2 weeks, we're going to cover the hows. How do you take the test? What specifically is on the Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional exam? We're going to cover some very fundamental SOLIDWORKS best practices and On top of the SOLIDWORKS fundamentals, we're going to look at test-taking fundamentals. So does everybody remember when you took the SAT, maybe in high school, not only did you have to study for the content of the test, but you had to study the test itself and how to take the test itself. So that's what we're going to look at, and I'm going to take a live practice test on March 19th and kind of show you some of the ways that I've learned help me take these exams, faster, better, get them right the first time kind of deal. We're going to talk about what you get when you're certified, and we're going to do a full another Q&A session. So two-part series, who, what, when, where, why today, and then how on March 19th. Today we're going to start with the whys. So why should you get certified? Like I said, when I was putting together this content, I really wanted to try to keep the perspective of before I was tech support, before it was mandatory for me. And my answers are why I would have benefited while I was still in industry, if I was looking for a job while I was out, how this is going to benefit me maybe later on, that kind of stuff. So the first reason I think you should get certified is the certified community is this whole new group of people. So I love the SOLIDWORKS community. I'm active in my user group. And the certification community, you get the certification center. So you might not even know this exists yet. So we're going to take a detailed look at that. It gives you a way to connect with certified users maybe in certain aspects of SOLIDWORKS. Maybe you want to learn sheet metal. It's very possible you could look up a sheet metal specialist on the certification center and say, hey, why don't I buy dinner and you talk about sheet metal? Okay, it happens. The next reason, discounts on partner products. If you buy partner products and you're certified, I like the philosophy, it never hurts to ask. The worst they can say is no. So if you're looking at a partner product and you're a certified SOLIDWORKS professional or an expert, tell them so and see if there's a discount available for whatever that product is. The next thing I want to talk about is employment. And I know this is kind of a touchy subject, okay? But I want to look at it from both perspectives. I want to look at it from the employee perspective and the job seeker perspective, and then I want to look at it as the employer and the hiring personnel, okay? So as a job seeker, I feel like getting certified kind of gives you some instant validation on your resume, some instant credibility. So everybody who's used SOLIDWORKS, I feel like we have that line item on our resume, that says SOLIDWORKS experience, or I've used SOLIDWORKS, version to version, whatever, some variation of that. But when you get certified, suddenly you can replace that with I'm a certified SOLIDWORKS professional, or I'm a certified SOLIDWORKS sheet metal specialist, whatever. And that kind of boosts it up. It gives it a little, pizzazz, if you will, for that line item on your resume. And as an employer, or as, HR, whoever you are looking at these resumes, what that tells me as an employer, when I bring on a certified SOLIDWORKS professional, I don't have the added cost of sending them to basic SOLIDWORKS training. They know how to do it. They've proven that they know how to do it at this particular level, and maybe they don't need essentials now. Okay, so that's a way for you guys to just kind of get to know each other a little bit better initially, and a way for you to make yourself stand out from the crowd a little bit who has that line item that says, I have SOLIDWORKS experience. The next reason I came up with here, and this is really interesting to me, as far as an industry standard goes for SOLIDWORKS users, this is it. This is the only one. These certification exams are, these certifications are the bar. So what happens is the SOLIDWORKS certification team writes these exams, and basically how it works is they say, if you can use this set of tools to build this part within this time frame, we feel like you understand the tool set and you're good to go. We're going to go ahead and certify you. And like I said, these are written by SOLIDWORKS, and these are the only gauge that exists in the SOLIDWORKS universe right now to tell us if we're as efficient as we need to be, if we know the tools the way they think we need to know them. And I like this as a user because it tells me exactly that. It's the only way I can validate my skill set, is to take these certification exams because they're the only thing out there. And the last reason, and absolutely the most important reason for me on my journey, the pursuit is going to make you a better SOLIDWORKS user, period, end of story. So when I was working, I had, my blinders on and I was doing the same task every single day, and I never kind of took a step back and shifted perspective. I never looked at new tools. I just did what I did and I got it done. By pursuing these exams, number one, I got to see a lot of cool new stuff that I didn't even know existed. And number two, it gave me the opportunity to try different methods that sometimes were better. They were faster, they edited better. It just showed me new tools by practicing. The other part of the practice and the preparation for these tests is you are forced into a time constraint. So you have to, again, use these tools to build this part within this time frame. Because of the time constraints, you don't have the opportunity to get it wrong the first time. You have to really enforce and use best practices always. And the practice of those, best practices, or the preparation of best practices, is going to translate into your everyday use of the software. And you're just going to become this infinitely better user, and you're going to see all these new things in the software that you didn't know were there. Okay? Those are the serious why you should get certified. So if you guys have ever been to one of my training classes, or you've ever seen me at the user group, that kind of thing, you know that I like the fun reasons for everything. I love this job, I have a lot of fun with it, and I want to do the fun stuff. So why should you get certified fun stuff? Okay? Every year, SOLIDWORKS celebrates the community and themselves, if you will, at SOLIDWORKS World. So once a year they have this cool 4-day conference. It's always in January or February when it's cold up here, and it's always somewhere warm, so that's awesome. And this year we got to go to San Diego. And part of this conference is they like to celebrate the certified community too. So certified SOLIDWORKS experts get an extra event at SOLIDWORKS World. This year they took us to Petco Park. It's the home of the San Diego Padres, if you don't know. We got to go to the Hall of Fame Bar and Grill. We got to play foosball. We got to play pool. We got to throw darts. We got to really unwind kind of in style at the end of one of the conference days. So you've learned all you possibly can for 8 hours, and then they took us to go hang out. And it was really nice, and it's a nice way for them to celebrate what you've accomplished. So I tell you this, number one, because it's cool, and number two, so that you can set a goal for yourself. If you always attend SOLIDWORKS World, you should have a full calendar while you're there. So maybe 2015 is too soon. Maybe you can't have your expert done by Phoenix, but set it up for 2016 and say, okay, I'm going to take an exam, every quarter or every 6 months, so that when I go to wherever 2016 is going to be, I can go to this extra event. Okay. So those are the whys. How about the whats? What exams can you take? So currently there are 8 SOLIDWORKS exams available, and the way this works, they come in at kind of 4 difficulty levels, if you will. And the first level is the associate level exam. This is kind of new. So there are 2 listings here. There's the CSWA and the CSWA-Academic. These are the same test. You'll just see them kind of called up a little bit differently. And the reason for this is they use the Certified SOLIDWORKS Associate as the final exam for CAD courses at the college level, that kind of thing. And I feel like this test it's kind of an instructor-led, curriculum-based test, right? So the requirements on the SOLIDWORKS website say that you need to have gone through the tutorials for the software, and you can take the associate level test. So this is a really fun test. I'm going to actually suggest that you start at the next level. So after the Certified SOLIDWORKS Associate exam, there is the Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional Core exam. So you're going to see this one called out as the CSWP-Core. And kind of what's the difference? What does core mean? Core to me is the features tab on your command ribbon. So to pass both the associate level and professional level exams, you're going to use 4 tabs on your command ribbon. You're going to use the Sketch tab, because you have to have the Sketch tab to create your features, right? Then the Features tab, the Assembly tab, you're going to have to be able to put stuff together and mate it, insert components, that kind of stuff. And then the 4th tab that you're going to need is Evaluate. You have to be able to measure stuff. You have to be able to grab center of mass. You have to be able to evaluate some aspect of what they had you put together and give them an answer. Okay? So the difference between the professional and the associate level, they're going to use the same tabs on the command ribbon, but I feel like the professionals learn some of the give and take within SOLIDWORKS. I mean, how many ways are there to draw a line, right? There's, what, 4, maybe 5 different ways to draw a line. So a professional has kind of learned, maybe if this way it doesn't exactly come out the way I want to, I've got some other options. Maybe an associate just doesn't quite capture design intent the way it was, you know, the way they meant to the first time. Maybe they have to kind of reevaluate stuff, use their start and end conditions a little bit differently. So the professional can bring on and help the associate out. They've worked in the software a little bit longer. The problems are going to be a little bit more difficult. And SOLIDWORKS recommends that for this test you have taken the Essentials course and you've worked in the software for 6 months before you try it out. After the professional level, there's the advanced professional level. Okay? And this one is really kind of cool. So we've looked at the Features tab. You've taken your core, you've proved that you can extrude, revolve, do all the stuff on the Features tab. But what the professional or the advanced professional level exams do is they take a look at each of the other tool sets. So the sheet metal tab, they say if you can use the sheet metal tools to create this sheet metal part in this time frame, you're an advanced sheet metal specialist. Okay? And there are 5 other tool sets available to you in SOLIDWORKS. So there's a test for each one of those, and that's exactly how these work. The surfacing test is going to cover the surfacing tools. The mold tools test is going to cover the mold tools kind of deal. And once you have passed 4 of these 5 specialist exams, you're eligible for the last level. You're eligible to take the expert level exam. And this is an additional test. Again, you have to have 4 of the 5 advanced professional specialties to qualify to even take it. And an expert, to me, this is somebody who's just aware. That's the best word that I can come up with it. They know, 4 of those 5 extra tool sets, so they kind of know all the different ways SOLIDWORKS can create models. Okay? They know the property manager, top to bottom, left to right. They're not just grabbing stuff and hitting the green check mark. They're actually using the property manager pull downs. They're using their check boxes. They're really taking advantage of that information. They know the pull down menus, so they actually go insert features to get to some of their different commands. Maybe when you have 5 minutes before lunch and you can't start a new project, right, but you can't get up yet, what you can do is instead of going to Facebook, this guy goes to YouTube. Or maybe he goes to 3D Content Central and he downloads a model that interests him, uses the rollback feature or the part reviewer, and kind of learns how somebody else built it. So the expert level, they're a tinkerer, they are crazy aware of what's available to them in the software. And kind of an example of that is, let's say, a sweep. Maybe on the professional level exam you have to create a sweep. Profile, pass sketch, you grab those 2 and you hit sweep and you hit the green check mark and you're done, right? At the expert level, the expert knows that there are some other options there. So maybe a spring like this one. At first glance, that might seem like a difficult part, but the expert knows all of his other options in the sweep tool. So he sees this as a pretty simple thing to create. So what happens, I'm going to go ahead and delete that feature and recreate it. The expert's going to know that under the sweep tool, he can hit, profile and path, grab his 2 sketches, okay? But nothing happens. You don't get a preview, and you don't get a preview because these 2 sketches are not intersecting. But if you drop down the options here, and for your follow path, instead of do that, you say twist along it, you can actually twist the profile around the path, okay? And then you can define that by how many turns you want to go. and you can go 20 turns. Now you have a pretty cool preview. You can say yes. And this is what I mean. So for me, that's the difference. An expert knows what those drop downs mean. They know what the checkboxes mean. They can help the professional along, and they can kind of show them some new stuff and just see what else the software is capable of. Got a lot of stuff going on. So where should you start? I kind of mentioned this already. I think that you should start with the Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional Core exam. So this flowchart is just the stuff we just talked about, and the green one is the associate, that's the beginning. The professional is the gold one in the middle, and then outside of that are those advanced specialist exams, and then the arrow down would be your expert. I think that you should start with the Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional Core. It's a really good test, and I really enjoyed it. It's going to cover modeling, configurations, and assemblies, and it's going to set you up to start looking at those specialty exams and get you on track to take your expert. Okay? As a side note to this, let's say you have absolutely no desire to pursue your expert. I keep saying expert, expert, expert. Let's say you don't want to go that far with this. You build sheet metal parts every day, and that's all you want to certify on. You can do that. You can take any of the advanced specialist exams without taking the CSWP core first. However, if you do that, you can't take the expert exam. So you have to have the features tab done. You have to have the CSWP core test as a prerequisite for the Certified SOLIDWORKS expert. Okay? So start there, get 4 out of your 5 specialties, and then get your expert. Why am I dwelling on the expert? Okay? Let's look at how many people are certified. This is why I'm dwelling on the expert. Okay? There are more than 2 million SOLIDWORKS users in the world. So 2 million people with that line item on the resume that says, I've used SOLIDWORKS. About 100,000 of them are certified. That's a crazy statistic. I feel like more of us need to get certified and more of us need to look at these exams because that's a really small percentage of people. And this is where I say it's going to make you stand out instantly if you put this on your resume. Okay? So here's a breakdown of the actual certified users for these tests that we've looked at. The vast majority of them are certified SOLIDWORKS associates. About half of that, you drop down about half for the CSWP, for the professional level exam that I want you to start with. And this is where it gets really cool. For every single one of those advanced specialties you take, and by completing your Certified SOLIDWORKS expert exam for mechanical design, you're in a group, a club, if you will, of less than 2,000 people on the planet that have done that. So you really want to pursue these things down to the smallest piece of the pie. It makes you stand out. Every test you take, significantly smaller, more elite category of SOLIDWORKS users, and you want to be part of that. Okay. So that's how many people are certified. Frequently asked questions. Okay, I apologize in advance. Frequently asked questions are always kind of a bummer. And the first one is, do I need an internet connection? This one's not so bad. Yes, you do need an internet connection. It's an internet-based proctor that you're going to download to take the test with, so you have to have internet the whole time. Number 2, what's the policy on retake? First thing anybody thinks about is what happens if I fail, right? It's a fair question. So the retake policy on the Certified SOLIDWORKS Associate level and the Advanced Professional Specialties level. So the Associate, sheet metal, weldments, mold tools, surfacing, and drawing tools, those are 30 days. So if you fail a test, you have to wait 30 days to take it again. The Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional exam is actually structured a little differently. It's broken out into 3 segments that range from 40 to 90 minutes long. Again, one covers modeling, one covers configurations, and one covers assemblies. If, let's say you take all 3 segments at once, and you pass 1 and 3, but segment 2 and configurations give you a hard time, 1 and 3 are passed forever. You don't have to take them again. But segment number 2, you only have to wait 14 days or 2 weeks to take that again. The Certified SOLIDWORKS Expert, when you take this test, ladies and gents, make sure that you are ready because they do not mess around. The retake policy on the Certified SOLIDWORKS Expert is 6 months, 180 days. So make sure you get that one right the first time. Can the exams be paused? Nope, it's a timed test. So lock the doors, shut the blinds, and make sure that you have the time and space you need to take these tests. Because can you imagine, what if you're taking your Certified SOLIDWORKS Expert exam and somebody comes on, you know, they walk in your door with their hair on fire and you have to put that fire out and you get timed out of a test that you have 6 months to, you have to wait 6 months to retake? I would be so angry. So don't even tell them that you're there. Just make sure you lock yourself in your cave and don't come out until you're certified. What if my computer fails, or what if my internet fails, or my computer crashes? It's a sad question. And I'm actually going to break it down into 3 parts. If your internet fails, just your internet, the proctor is going to try to reconnect for about 2 minutes. Okay? If your entire computer crashes, I mean like if Windows goes down and you have to reboot the whole machine, SOLIDWORKS says this really nicely. I'm not going to. Too bad. Sorry. You're going to have to wait the retake, repurchase the exam, and take it again. If the third part of this, let's say just SOLIDWORKS goes down. So you have your computer up, the proctor is still running, but SOLIDWORKS crashes. Restart SOLIDWORKS, save early, save often, we've all heard this. Get back to where you were as fast as you can, and then you maybe can finish the test. Okay, so kind of a 3-parter. If your internet goes down, 2 minutes to reconnect. If your computer goes down, sorry. If SOLIDWORKS goes down, try to get back to where you were as soon as possible. From the technical support perspective, another part of these exams to me is your environment. So if you're in an environment where SOLIDWORKS crashes consistently, or if your computer is going down, or if your internet is hit or miss, there's a bigger picture problem that you kind of need to take a step back and look at. Part of these exams is you have to be in a stable environment to take them. So you have to have a stable SOLIDWORKS installation. You have to have a stable Windows installation. So if you're seeing that kind of problem, that's why we're here. Put in a tech support case and let us know so that we can get the big picture problem fixed before you look at certifying. Right? And my favorite question, this is my favorite question that I picked. Can I discuss my results with someone? Yes, 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 absolutely. I want you to do this because the alternative is worse. If you fail a test and you don't talk to anybody about it, it's possible that you're never going to recommit to that test. You're never going to take it again. You're never going to reapproach. That is the last thing that I want for you. I want you to tackle these things and be successful. So, yes, you can discuss results. Put in a tech support request. Go to your local user group meeting. Talk to somebody else who's maybe done it already. Take advantage of the community. And when you do your practice exams, send those to me too. I am open and willing, and I want to help you get certified. What if you take your test and you fail it because you missed a radius or your chamfer didn't get updated? What if it is seriously something that simple and you just need another set of eyes on it? So make sure you call us, you talk to us. If you don't like the way questions are phrased, the certification team can be contacted. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. Okay. So those are my frequently asked questions. Don't forget in your dashboard you can add more questions, okay? And we'll look at those at the end. Next big idea here. What accounts do I need to take the test? What do I have to have? So we need a couple of accounts to do what we're looking at today. Number one, we have to set up the SOLIDWORKS Certification Center account, okay, that I showed you before, and we're going to do that in great detail right now. The other account that I'm going to just glance off of it is your customer portal account. So Catherine and I did a morning show a couple of weeks ago. You can find that on the YouTube channel that really dives deep into some of the options available to you in your customer portal and your subscription services. So check that out. Like I said, I'm just going to glance over it and show you where you need to log in. But the SOLIDWORKS Certification Center, we're going to look at that now. How do you get there? First thing, you got to go to solidworks.com. So hopefully you guys are familiar with this website and kind of how it works. You got to hover over a category and pull this down and go to certification. And once you get to that page, down the middle, there's a list of all of the certifications available to you. There's a detailed description of the commands they could possibly cover. There's a download for a sample exam. There's a ton of information on this page. I encourage you to come in and read it. But what I'm going to focus on today is I'm going to focus on the quick links on the right-hand side. And we're going to start by clicking the SOLIDWORKS Certification Center. And this is going to take us to where we're going to create that account. Every single website that you have been to, if you don't have a login, what do? You hit login anyway, right? And you say, I don't have an account, I need to set one up. This Certification Center website doesn't work like that. And the reason it doesn't work like that is because when you create this account, what you're actually doing is setting up your proctor for the exams. Okay? So remember that when you get here, you have to download and register for these exams through the proctor. So up here in the top, there's this button here, hit Download Tester Pro. That's what you're going to do. You're going to tell Windows that, yes, I really meant to do that. Please run the file anyway. Okay? Once you run that, you're going to read the licensing agreement top to bottom completely. I agree. Okay? Choose your installation location and hit Install. And once you've installed, make sure you run the Tester Pro for SOLIDWORKS. I just like to keep that checkbox checked because every time I do this, I want to have it come up, and hit Finish. This is going to bring up the first page of your proctor. It's going to ask you to choose the language that you want to use. We're going to choose English today and hit Continue. And then this page is where you set up your account. Okay? So you're going to say, I don't have a virtual tester user ID. That is the exact same thing as your Certification Center login. Okay? And you're going to fill out your contact info. And when you do this, please be aware of what email address you use. What email address you use is going to become important in the process later on. So just know that. Know what email address you use. Hit Continue. And when you do that, it's going to take you, it's going to leave the proctor open. You're going to have to go back to the web, okay? But now you can actually log in to this website. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to show you around my Certification Center. Okay. So first of all, the top ribbon here, this is your navigation ribbon or whatever you want to call it. The home screen, I like about the home screen, it gives you a list of the latest certificates issued. So you can kind of see who passed recently. I think that's really cool. The next thing, you can validate people's certificates. So if I were to tell you that I'm a certified SOLIDWORKS professional, each certification is issued a license number. So you could say, can I see your license, please? Okay. So what I'm going to do, I have my LinkedIn profile over here. I'm just going to kind of scroll down and grab one of my license numbers. Okay, so if you see this on somebody's resume, that's what that represents. That's the license that goes with the certification. And if you come back to the Certification Center account, put that in there, tell the internet that you are a person, and validate their certificate. It's going to tell you if the certificate is valid, number one, but then it's also going to tell you what day they got it on, which I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of relevant if you're looking at this stuff. When did they get their expert? Okay, so I got mine last year, and it's just a cool thing. I like it. The next link here is search. This is that community that I was telling you about that you have access to. Okay, so what you do is you pick a certificate level. We're going to go with the professional, and I'm going to choose the United States because that's where I am. And this is where I got my numbers from earlier, by the way, my pie chart. 37,165 professionals worldwide. This is where I got my numbers. And I'm also going to look for a professional in the great state of New York because that's where I am. And what happens when you bring this up is each star in the certificate column represents one of those professional level exams. The first star is the core or the features one. The next one, sheet metal, surfacing, mold tools, weldments, those. Okay. Remember I said that you don't have to take the core test first. So that's what this guy did. He just took a sheet metal test because that's all he was going to use. Okay. The other button here that I think is cool is you can actually grab people's LinkedIn profiles and you can connect with them straight from the Certification Center. That's awesome. That's a great way to find people. It's a great way to say, hey, man, I need a sheet metal person in my area. You find Dave, you call Dave, or you send him a LinkedIn message and you say, I need a sheet metal tutorial Dave just happens to run the Albany user group, so you would run across somebody who could maybe get you a user group presentation in too. Okay. For the next one, this is search, resellers, and training centers. I'm going to assume that you all are CADimensions awesome, awesome customers, and we don't need to do this one. And the next one is support and contact. So I do want to look at this page, and the reason I want to look at this page is because there are 2 different support teams for the certification center. The first one is the SOLIDWORKS certification team. So if you take your test and you don't like the way something was worded, or you don't think they gave you all the information you needed to fully define, or you purchase your exam and it doesn't show up, you want to contact the certification team at SOLIDWORKS. So that's certification@solidworks.com. You can click this link to get in touch with them. The other team is for the proctor itself. So if the proctor crashes, if it times out early, it won't download and install. I have, for the record, never had any of that happen. But if it does, you would contact the virtual tester support team. And last but not least, we are your first line of defense for everything. So if you have any of these issues, please put in a tech support request here at CADimensions, or shoot me an email, or give us a call, or whatever, and just let us know, because maybe it's an easy fix that we see every day, and we can just get it done without the need to get SOLIDWORKS involved. Okay? The other part of this, on the right-hand side of your screen, sorry, I got to move my webinar thing, all of those buttons, actually, let's point that out. All of the buttons on the left-hand side that we just looked at, they're available to anyone. You do not have to have a certification center login to access that information. So if you're a hiring guy, maybe you're HR, or maybe you're somebody who reviews resumes, that kind of stuff, you can validate their certificates. You can search for people in the area if you're looking to maybe cold call people, that kind of stuff. So all that's available to everybody without a login. When you log in, you're going to hit the lock pad. And we're going to take a look at my certification center. And we're going to look at the other stuff that you get for creating this account and for certifying. Okay. So again, up on the navigation bar, you get some extra buttons. First one, this is my favorite. Yay! This is your wall of awesomeness. This is all of the certificates you've earned. If you click through them, you actually get logos. So even better, they give you a small logo and a big logo so that it's not all blurry when you put it on stuff. They also give you a QR code that you can download. They give you a beautiful printable certificate. They do all follow this template. So I actually have literally a wall of awesomeness in my office, and they all match. They look really nice. Okay, so you can put those up somewhere. I suggest putting them in high traffic areas. So if your boss walks by, he sees, you know, the awesome, awesome wall. Okay. The next link. Okay, this is my certification center account. Okay, remember that. The next link is your exam results. I didn't want to tell you this much about myself, okay? But I feel like it's necessary to the message that I'm trying to send out. You can do this, okay? But it's not going to be easy. There are exams that you're going to fail. It's going to happen. But you got to dust yourself off. You got to take them again, okay? And if you don't fail, that's even better, right? I'm not saying you're going to fail every single one, but I'm saying that it might. You might. I did. The mold tools test, oh, this thing, yeah. This test gave me a run for my money, okay? And I had to take it 4 times, but I learned a lot. And this is something about the exam results page that I learned from the mold tools test. It was really important. So when I click on each exam, it tells me what information they were looking for, like what specific content they were after. So for mine, they wanted the split command, knit surfaces. They wanted to know if I could do draft analysis. They needed to know that I could create shutoff surfaces and parting lines. And then that last category was imported model repair. So how many times do you have customers send you imported models like steps or IGES or anything like that? Or how many times do you download models off the internet that have broken faces that you need to repair manually? So that's what they were after. The first time I took the test, I missed that question. And to be honest with you, I just kind of said, whatever. I'm the best at everything, and I'm not going to take anything that this exam results page says seriously. I'm going to wait my 30 days. I'm going to take my test again. Guess what happened? When I took my test again, yes, I clicked down. I missed the imported model repair question again. Okay, so it turns out that these exam results really do show you your strengths and weaknesses. They lay them out on a bar graph and they say, hey, this is where you need to study. So use the exam results page and make sure that if you do have an issue with a test, you're using this to refocus your studies. For me, am I going to tell you that I'm the best imported model repairer on the planet? No, because I'm not. But I can confidently say now, after having to study for this and do so many iterations of it, I know 6 different ways to repair an imported model. So if the first one doesn't work, I can try another one. If that doesn't work, I can try another one. And I'm comfortable enough in the tool set to take different approaches when I need to. So that's what I got out of the mold tools test. That's how I became a better user. I became better at imported model repair. And it was it was cool. It was very eye-opening. Like I said, all about awareness, right? The next 2, these are some voucher stuff and some training stuff. Fun fact, every one of these certifications that we have looked at so far for mechanical design comes with an instructor. It doesn't come with. That was a bad way to say that. There is an instructor-led curriculum available to you from CADimensions. So if you want to take the sheet metal exam and you study online and you think maybe that you still need some content or you want to come take the book and you want to sit through a 2-day class with us, you can absolutely do that. So there's a sheet metal class, there's a mold tools class. You'll always want to start with SOLIDWORKS Essentials. That's the basics. It's an awesome book. Just so you know, there is training available here. And for your settings, I'm going to look at those too. The email address that you use, again, it's important because we're about to purchase a test and we need to know what email address we used. Choose to be listed in the online directory. Don't hide from us. This is a huge accomplishment. Tell people that you've done it. Make it public. And also, this is where you will link your account up with your LinkedIn profile. Link your LinkedIn profile. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. And that's pretty much it. That is it for the Certification Center today. And what we're going to do now is look at purchasing an exam. So how do you buy a test? What are your options here? Okay. The first option is outright buy it. You can do that. They range from $19.95 to $149. They're pretty expensive. So I wanted to give you some other options. Number 1, are you attending SOLIDWORKS World? So again, if you go to the conference every year, excuse me, part of your conference admission is access to one of these exams. So you show up on Sunday, you take a certification exam while you're there. It's part of your entry. So if you want to take, a $100 test while you're at World, you can do that. Number 1.1, it's kind of one-ish. If you see a certification presentation come up at your local user group, it's very possible that that presenter is going to have vouchers to give away. Just cough, cough, hint, hint. So if you see a certification come up at your user group, check that out. Number 2, again, back to the employment. If you are looking to make yourself more marketable, if you are looking to boost your resume, let's say you don't have a job right now, and this is a way that can help you out and get you there. You have to have 2 things. You have to have the certification exam itself, so that's $20 to $150, and you have to have a seat of SOLIDWORKS to take the test. I don't know about you guys, but if it's me, and I don't have a job, buying a seat of SOLIDWORKS is not even an option. So what you do is you call me, you call CADimensions, you call your reseller, and you say, hey, I want to take this test, but I don't have a seat of SOLIDWORKS. Let me know, and we'll try to figure that out. Maybe you can come sit in the training room, whatever, when it's empty and you can take your test. You probably will have to purchase the exam to do that, but at least you don't have to buy a seat of SOLIDWORKS. Call your local colleges. Ask them if you can get into their CAD department on a day pass. Call your local user group. See if they can hook you up with somebody who will let you use a seat of their software. Okay? And the last option that we're going to look at here, this is my favorite option. And it's because you have it already, probably. If you're on subscription, you get access to certification coupons. What? Mind blown, right? You want to use these coupons. You're paying for them already, guys. So first option, you can always outright buy an exam, right? But you don't have to, okay? If you're going to World, you can take a test. If you go to your user group, maybe there's a voucher in it for you. If you need a place to take a test, you can come and ask around. So how do you purchase it? You go back to the SOLIDWORKS website. How do you purchase it? We're going to use those coupons. So go back to the SOLIDWORKS website, and again back to the certification page. You're going to this time hit Purchase Certification Exams on the quick links. This is going to bring you to the product catalog. So outright purchase, this is the product catalog, this is what it looks like. You'll add to cart, hit checkout, that kind of stuff. For the subscription services coupons, we're going to go back to the SOLIDWORKS website, and again, disclaimer, you have to have a customer portal account that is on active subscription maintenance to see these coupons. So that's at the top. You have to be logged in. If you don't know how to do that, again, just shoot me an email or give me a call, whatever, and we'll get that set up for you. The only thing you need to create the account is the serial number and your contact info. So if you hit login, there's a create account button. Okay. When you come back here and you're logged in, you can go to certification offers for subscription service customers. Okay. If your resolution is anything like mine, I had to scroll down a little bit further to see them. And what they do is they offer coupons for exams in 3 different categories. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so the 3 categories are so you get either a CSWP or a CSWA, so a professional level or an associate level exam with the first coupon. The second coupon, you get one of those advanced specialty exams, so sheet metal, surfacing, mold tools, those. Okay? And the third level coupon is for some of those other, I'm going to call them the other tracks. Okay, so this is your associate simulation exam, your sustainable design guide exam, your enterprise PDM administrator. Okay, that's what those coupons are for. Everybody, ready for this? These coupons are not seat dependent. They are not maintenance dependent. So if you have maybe some part-time guys that are working with you on the same chair that you're sitting at, they can use this too as long as the seat's on maintenance. So make sure you really encourage everybody to get certified. Okay? And copy your coupon code out. So we're going to copy out the CSWP, the professional level coupon, because that's the test we're going to take on the 19th. There's no quick links on this page, enhancement request. So we're going to go back to the certification page and again go to purchase certification exams. Let's say we didn't leave the product catalog up. And we're going to add the Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional to our cart. Key component of the Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional is that it is segmented. There are 3 segments to this test. So when you put this thing in your cart, make sure that you get all 3 segments. Okay? There's also a disclaimer on the coupon page to remind you of that. And then we're going to hit checkout. When you hit checkout, you're going to apply your coupon in the middle, make sure that your subtotal and your coupon total cancel each other out, and input your personal information. When you input your personal information, please, please, please remember to use the same email address as the one that you created your Proctor login and your Certification Center ID with, okay? That is how they deliver the test to you. So what's going to happen is you're going to hit Secure Checkout. You're going to get an email with this itty-bitty line item that says use the same email address, okay? And then you're also going to get one for the invoice for the order. Just an FYI for you for this, when I went through it, because my total was $0 with my coupon, it did not ask me for a Visa card or any payment information like that. And you're going to fire up your Proctor. This time you're going to log in because you've already created this login. And this is where your test is going to sit. So when you pick on the test, one time it's going to have a big play button and says, yeah, you bought this one, you can do this. Hit Start Exam, then you can choose your application language again or your test language and hit Start Exam. Okay? And that is where we are going to pick up on March 19th. So what we're going to do then, again, we're going to do a hows. How do we basic fundamentals build a part? How do we take a test? That kind of stuff. So for now, let's see if we got any questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the questions thing. That was my 10-minute warning. Thank you, Catherine. Okay. For tests, okay, question number 1. For tests with segments, do you have to take all segments during the same time, or can you come back and take the other segments at a later time? Yeah, so you do not have to take them all at the same time. So when they show up in your proctor list that we just looked at, you'll actually have a listing for segment 1, a listing for segment 2, and a listing for segment 3. Okay? So that's a good question. What else do we have? Will a saved version of this webinar be available to rewatch later? Yes, absolutely. It'll be on the CADimensions YouTube channel. And if you want, shoot me an email, and I'll send you a link to that if you haven't been there before. And that looks like it's it. Oh, wait a minute, here's another one. Is there an advantage to taking them all at the same time? I think there used to be a 10-minute bonus, but the way it's set up now, I don't think you can actually get it. Like, I don't think you can actually take all 3 of them at the same time. I think you used to be able to do that, but I don't think you can anymore. So I'm going to go with no. The modeling segment's 90 minutes, the configuration segment is 40 minutes, and the assembly segment, I think that one's 80 minutes, and you'll just have to sit down and take them. Okay. What else do we got? I think that's it. Okay, guys, so if you have any other questions, my email address is at the bottom, and here's my, oh, actually, before you go, challenge. I want you guys who attended today, thank you so much for coming, first of all. I want you to have your Certification Center accounts set up by Wednesday, March 19th, and I want you to come back for the Lunch and Learn on the hows, and that's going to be my poll question. Did you set up your Certification Center account? So just heads up. Okay, make sure you have that thing set up by the time you come back. Here's my detailed contact info. Like I said, shoot me an email, give me a call, put in a tech support request, whatever, if you have any questions or if you think of them later on or in between. And thank you so, so much for coming. I'll see you on the 19th.